Welcome to episode 4 of Old World Wanderings, the First Church of the Covenant, Erie, Pennsylvania. I choose these locations because there's some mystery to them. This one's got a big mystery. You see, in 1927, the seven sects of the Presbyterian Church around Erie, Pennsylvania decided to have a meeting and decide if they wanted to merge, become one church. 5 of those churches decided to merge and build this. They laid the cornerstone for this building on June 16th of 1928, and they completed and dedicated it on December 14th of 1930. They completed this church in 2.5 years. They hired John William Cresswell Corbusier, credited with building 30 of these churches during his career. 30. They hired Parrott Manufacturing to do the window frames, Henry Mercer Moravia Pottery to do the tile works, Conic Studios, D'Ascenzo Studios, and Tiffany Studios out of Philadelphia to do the stained glass. Crazy thing about this is that this happened during the Great Depression. Nobody had any money, no buildings were being built, no manufacturing was being done, nobody had jobs, there was no money for anything, but they had the money to build this gigantic limestone church in just 2.5 years. Now I said that there was some mystery to this building. There is. John William Cresswell Corbusier, the architect credited with building this building, said they built 30 of these during his lifetime. If on average they take between 2.5 to 3 years to build, that would be 90 years of a life of building these, unless you had multiple construction teams in the early 1920s. Funny thing is that John William Cresswell Corbusier died June 8th of 1928. That is 8 days before the cornerstone was set on this church. So the architect who built this church died 8 days before they even started building it. On top of that, if he built 30 of these churches during his lifetime, he was a very busy man, as he died of a heart attack at the age of 49. Do I think that John William Cresswell Corbusier built 30 of these churches during his life? If he started when he was 19, that gave him 30 years. That's knocking out one of these churches every single year of his entire career until the day he died. 1929, in the middle of this construction, was considered the worst winter in the history of Erie, Pennsylvania, boasting the coldest temperatures, constant ice, and constant snow. So they weren't building then either. It took them less than 2 years to build this church. Parrott Manufacturing, who did the window frames, said that they wanted them to be an exact historical match. What history were they matching if they were building a church from the ground up? Henry Mercer Moravia Pottery is now a museum, and Conic Studios, D'Ascenzo Studios, and Tiffany Studios are still making stained glass out of Philadelphia. This is a Fountartarian building. The 7 Presbyterian churches in Erie, Pennsylvania decided to merge, pool their resources, so they didn't die during the Great Depression. They found this building. Well, actually, this building was here. It probably had stories. It was probably haunted. Probably a bunch of squatters, kids running by, throwing rocks through the stained glass. So they hired Parrott Manufacturing. They hired Mercer Moravia. They hired the stained glass people to fix up, repurpose, and dedicate this church to the Presbyterians in Erie, Pennsylvania. It's a Tartarian building. They didn't build this in 2.5 years. John William Cresswell Corbusier was dead during its construction, and he did not build 30 of these in just 30 years of his life. It's a great story. It's a beautiful church. But as usual, I'm going to question everything. I hope you do too, for the sake of us and the sake of our future and our future history. Please, and always, keep wandering.